The story commences with a fascinating rumor. There exists an enigmatic figure in this world who instills fear even in the most formidable armed groups globally. This mysterious individual is known as Peter. What adds to the intrigue is the surprising revelation that this formidable killer is, in fact, an elderly man in his 60s. In an undisclosed location, a wounded man spoke of Peter, expressing that Peter could have departed as a legendary figure if he had met his end earlier. However, at present, Peter finds himself pursued by numerous killers, having forfeited all the assets he diligently amassed. The masked man responded, "Isn't that tragic?" He highlighted the irony of Peter, a legendary figure renowned for his loyalty to the organization, now facing imminent threats from those seeking to end his life. The injured man questioned whether the masked individual was Peter. He expressed his bewilderment, stating that no matter how much he pondered the situation, it simply didn't make sense to him. He wondered aloud about Peter's ability to elude capture and remain alive, despite the thousands of eyes vigilantly watching and pursuing him. The mystery deepened for him as he contemplated how, despite the relentless pursuit, no one had managed to locate the legendary Peter. The inexplicable nature of the situation left him perplexed and searching for answers. Approaching slowly, the masked man addressed the injured individual and provided an explanation to his inquiries. He conveyed that, despite the scrutiny of thousands of eyes, locating Peter remained an insurmountable task. With deliberate movements, he gradually removed his mask, revealing an unsettling truth. The Peter they sought had undergone a transformation and now bore a different appearance. 3 months ago, in a room surrounded by books, an elderly man named Peter received a stark warning. He was cautioned that if he continued to ignore calls and neglect hospital visits, his life would come to an end within 3 months. Unperturbed by the threat of death, Peter had navigated countless life and death situations throughout his existence. Having devoted 50 years of his life to the organization, he harbored no regrets. As he perused a book in his hands, his gaze shifted to a mirror, prompting the realization that he had never captured an image of himself before. A few moments later, a charming young lady entered the store, expressing her interest in purchasing used middle school textbooks. Peter warmly greeted her, informing her that they had textbooks spanning from 1960 to 2020, and inquired about her preference. The lady explained that the textbooks were for her younger sibling. Observing details such as her uniform and name tag color, Peter deduced that she was a senior high school student. The girl, taken aback by his perceptiveness, was surprised, prompting Peter to share that he knew a great deal about everyone in the neighborhood. As a pile of brand new books was presented to her, the girl expressed concern about her limited budget, unable to afford all the books. Despite their pristine condition, Peter reassured her that he no longer needed them and insisted on giving them to her. He astutely noted the depth of her affection for her younger sibling, advising her to cherish the moments with them while she still could. He emphasized that such relationships are priceless and warned of potential regrets if not treasured. Intrigued, the girl questioned Peter about whether he had ever experienced regret. He candidly responded, acknowledging that as life unfolds, regrets tend to accumulate. Despite this, he emphasized the irrevocable nature of the past, urging her to be mindful of her actions to avoid future remorse. Peter imparted advice to always care for her younger sibling and cautioned against actions that might lead to regret later in life. In a surprising twist, Peter then suggested she could leave without any harm, assuring her safety even if she chose to turn away. The girl, taken aback, contemplated how he knew about her intent to stab him. Peter explained that he had memorized the faces of every student from her high school, but for precautionary reasons, he needed to confirm her intentions. The girl asserted her senior status, however. Peter corrected her that the school she was attending was built only 2 years ago and the recent construction contradicted her claim. In a sudden revelation, she realized she was ensnared in Peter's manipulation, played from the very beginning. Despite finding herself cornered, she felt an unexpected unease, as if, despite holding the knife, she might be the one facing death. Acknowledging the tension, Peter encouraged her to take the books, discerning the sincerity in her words regarding her younger sibling. Drawing on his 50 years of experience, he explained that he could discern truths through the gaze in someone's eyes. Peter, with his astuteness, recognized that the girl hailed from the Glory Orphanage, just like him. He observed a familiarity in their situations, noting that their scripts remained unchanged. Furthermore, it became apparent to him that she had yet to undergo training in a particular aspect known as that. Peter disclosed that in their organization, if their voluntary service failed, Plan B would be set into motion. As the girl grappled with confusion over the enigmatic Plan B, Peter swiftly took action, seizing her and evading attacks from individuals attempting to ambush them. In the midst of the chaos, he explained to the girl that in the event of a mission failure, the volunteer also faced neutralization. As they lay on the ground, the girl observed that Peter had been struck in the stomach. The assailants continued firing, while Peter skillfully evaded their bullets. However, when Peter attempted to draw his own weapon, one of the attackers seized the girl as a hostage, and another delivered a punch to Peter's face. Struggling to move, Peter found his body unresponsive to his commands. The assailant, astonished, couldn't believe that the legendary figure known as Peter was indeed before him. Suddenly, their boss, the eight-legged man, emerged, remarking that it appeared the renowned Peter was vulnerable when faced with illness. Injured and lying on the floor, Peter questioned eight-legged man about the reason behind the attempt on his life. Eight-legged man revealed that their boss harbored a dislike for Peter because, if he were to exit the world, numerous pursuers would target his head. The critical information spilled out. The bounty on Peter's head amounted to 7.6 billion won. It struck Peter that this was the exact sum he had painstakingly saved throughout his life, earned through risking his life. The realization that his hard-earned money would now fall into someone else's hands dawned on Peter. With a sinister laugh, eight-legged man urged his senior, Peter, to meet his demise at his hands. The assailant resumed a relentless assault on Peter, pummeling him multiple times until he was eventually thrown aside. Believing him to be incapacitated, they prepared to tidy up the scene. However, as they approached Peter, he unexpectedly deployed a flashbang and made a quick escape through the back door. Under the relentless downpour, the injured Peter sought refuge in a children's park, grappling with the realization that he could no longer fight back effectively due to his advanced age. Reflecting on his life, he recognized that the organization had become his very existence. While others casually held pencils, he bled every day of the year to master the art of wielding a knife. In a world embracing social networks, he honed the skills of wiretapping and eavesdropping until his ears bled. While others experienced the highs and lows of love, he became a Russian spy, enduring frostbites around the clock. As others built families and enjoyed ordinary lives, he fought for survival amid terrorist groups. For years, Peter had dedicated his life to perilous work, but everything changed when a new boss assumed control. Having sacrificed everything for the organization, Peter had foregone aspirations of wealth and honor. Amidst the pouring rain, he questioned whether his life had always been so dismal, asserting that they shouldn't subject him to such a fate. Refusing to die in such a manner and determined not to let them seize his hard-earned money, Peter contemplated the savings he had accumulated. As thoughts of the money crossed his mind, a poignant memory surfaced, that of a young girl in tears. Overwhelmed by the recollection, tears welled up in Peter's eyes just before he succumbed to unconsciousness. At the hideout of the eight-legged man, the two attackers lamented losing Peter just when they almost had him. Reflecting on the missed opportunity to claim the 7.6 billion won bounty, they questioned why such a substantial reward was offered for the assassination of a dying old man. One of them had even relinquished his kickboxing champion title to personally eliminate the elderly target. As they examined a photo of Peter, a voice interrupted, claiming it was the first ever picture with Peter in it, emphasizing, "First ever picture taken of me." The attackers were astonished, thinking the speaker was Peter himself due to the identical outfit. However, Peter disclaimed any knowledge, expressing confusion about his altered appearance upon waking up. The kickboxing guy approached Peter, asserting that he had ventured into the wrong territory, emphasizing it wasn't a place fit for someone like him. Disregarding the warning, Peter grabbed the guy's hand, asserting his presence was based on knowing everything. He cautioned the kickboxer to cease wasting time and demanded to be taken to the eight-legged man. Upon hearing their boss's name, the two assailants exchanged glances. The kickboxer, realizing that Peter was from the same line of work, laughed and inquired about his purpose there. In a grim turn, he stated that anyone from the same industry who entered their domain had to face death. Attempting to enforce this, the kickboxer threw a punch at Peter, only to have it effortlessly blocked, resulting in every bone in his fist being shattered by Peter. Meanwhile, the other guy attempted a knife attack from behind, but to their surprise, Peter unleashed a barrage of punches on various parts of his body, thwarting the attack. With a knife in hand, the kickboxing guy demanded to know who sent Peter, but Peter remained silent. Instead, Peter grabbed an octopus leg and, as the kickboxing guy charged at him, nonchalantly kicked the knife out of his hand. Peter skillfully used the octopus legs to tie up his opponent's neck, deftly navigating the kitchen while wiping pots and plates with the guy's face. The sequence concluded with a forceful slam of the opponent's head into a hot dish wedge, a gratifying finishing move from our protagonist. As the dust settled, it became apparent that Peter, once hailed as the best in his field, had undergone a rejuvenation. The younger version of him emerged when he opened his eyes, signaling the demise of the old Peter they sought. In the wake of the encounter, Peter had transformed. And that's where the first chapter of our story ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to be updated in the next chapters.